Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Boston University Financial Planning webinar. My name is Sarah, and I will serve as your moderator for today's session. I would like to thank you all for joining us today. Please remember to ask questions by typing in the questions box located on the right-hand side of your screen. We will try to address all questions towards the end of the presentation. Additionally, a link to the recorded version of this webinar will be sent for your reference to share with colleagues. It is now with great pleasure I introduce our presenter, Carolyn Tommen, the Program Director for Boston University's Financial Planning Program. Carolyn is co-author of the Principles of Estate Planning textbook and has served as Chair of CFP Board's Council on Education. Carolyn brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the program, which she shares with her students. Carolyn, welcome and thank you for joining us. I will now pass the dialogue over to you to run through our agenda and present our program features.
Great, thank you very much, Sarah. And also thanks to all of you for being with us today. Now we have a lot of information that Carrie Scott and I would like to share with you. So we'd like to start off by telling you about these things that we have on the screen. So here's what our agenda is going to be. We're going to talk about what financial planning is all about, how you can become a certified financial planner professional. Also, we're going to talk about some career opportunities that are going to be available in this field. And of course, then we want to get into the particulars of the BU Financial Planning Program. Okay, so let's start out talking about what financial planning is. And the reason we want to start with this is because some people really believe that financial planning only involves investment planning or portfolio management. And while that is a very important part of financial planning, as you all know, there are many other aspects of financial planning that are involved too. And what financial planning is, it's actually a process that helps clients meet their financial goals. And this becomes the most rewarding aspect of our career. So it's not surprising to find out that 92% of certified financial planners said that they're either satisfied or highly satisfied with their career choice to become CFP professionals. And as you can see by these statistics, there are many advantages to becoming a CFP professional, like 26% more in compensation, 70% of consumers that utilize financial planners choose CFP professionals, up to 59% above the national averages for salaries in Boston, San Francisco, Dallas, and also Phoenix. And also 70% of CFP professionals surveyed believe the certification had a positive impact on client trust and technical expertise. Okay, now there are 7 subjects that you need to be aware of, and they make up not only the subjects in financial planning, but also the courses within the BU Financial Planning Program. So the introduction to financial planning is really about the general principles of financial planning, which also includes education planning. Then we have insurance and risk management. We have investments, income tax planning, which is personal income tax planning, not corporate. Also investment planning, retirement planning and employee benefits, estate planning, and then we round everything up with our capstone course in financial planning. Each course that we have listed here is going to cover all of the CFP Board topics that financial planners are expected to know and which are going to be tested on the CFP Board certification exam. So within these courses, as you're going through them, we're not only going to be training you to think like a financial planner and learn how to become a financial planner, but also that information will correlate to the CFP Board certification exam. Now, I do want to tell you a little bit about the differences between financial advisors and certified financial planners. And a lot of people aren't aware of this, but anybody can really call themselves a financial planner or a financial advisor. And they don't even have to obtain any special education or credentials to call themselves these things. But certified financial planners are very different. They have to go through a very rigorous 4-step process in order to get certified. And once they're certified, they have a fiduciary duty to put their clients' interests first before their own. However, this same fiduciary standard does not apply to all financial advisors. And that's really why the CFP mark is recognized throughout the world as the gold standard of excellence in the financial planning field. CFP is a certification that clients trust and that the public turns to when they're looking for financial advice. Now, let's talk about the fact that this is definitely a growing field. The CFP Board oversees the financial planning profession and the certification process. Through its media campaign, it educates the public about the benefits of working with CFPs over other financial advisors. You may have even seen some of their commercials on TV or heard their radio spots as well. I think you'll hear them mostly on NPR. But the result is that more consumers are choosing to work with CFP practitioners now over other financial advisors. And even though right now there are 80,000 CFPs in the U.S. today, this is not nearly enough to satisfy the public demand. So we want you to be aware of this because this is really a great time to enroll in the BU program and to start working towards your CFP certification today. Okay, now there are definite benefits of obtaining the CFP marks. And for those of you who already work in financial services, you may be interested to know that 76% of CFPs said that CFP certification contributed directly to their professional success. CFP certification can also provide you with a competitive advantage over other financial advisors, and it may also increase your earnings potential. And as we mentioned before, the IT group in Boston found that 26% of CFP professionals earn more than other advisors adjusted for their years of experience. So these really are great incentives to get started on your CFP education today. And for those of you who aren't working in the financial services field at this point in time, there still is really good news for you too. Because once you get your CFP certification, there's so many different types of financial service firms that you can work for. And so what we did was we just put together a list of some of the firms that will typically hire CFP professionals. Things like brokerage firms and mutual fund companies and insurance companies and banks, especially the trust departments, and accounting firms and human resources and even nonprofit organizations. And of course, you may want to work for financial planning firms too. These firms range from the large institutional firms to the smaller boutique financial planning or wealth management firms. Or you may decide that you want to start your own financial planning practice or buy an existing practice in your area. Right now, there are many older CFP practitioners who are looking to train younger planners to take over their practices in the future. And here's a statistic for you. There are more financial advisors over the age of 70 right now than there are under the age of 30. So if you can imagine that, we really need more people coming into this field because the older people who started these firms maybe 20, 25 years ago built up firms that are very successful practices need to have this succession planning in place. And so we're looking for a new generation, if I may say so, to come in to start taking over these practices, either by getting trained to work for professionals and taking over their practices in the future, or by buying their practices now. So really, when you think about it, there are so many good reasons right now to get your CFP certification and start working in this field because the opportunities for you are terrific. And want to tell you a little bit about career opportunities in the Boston area too. Employers do want the BU students. We have many different career opportunities that are available to financial planners in the Boston area. And that's because we are a real hub in Boston when it comes to financial planning firms, mutual fund companies, banks, insurance companies, and brokerage firms. We have it all here in Boston. So what will happen is All of these firms they know about the BU program because we are a prestigious program that's been around for the past 35 years. And so the employers will often contact BU when they're looking to have financial planning positions to fill. And once we get that information, we post that information on our program's website. We're going to start not only posting it on the website, but sending that information out to all of you too as an announcement, just so that you get to see what the opportunities are, and of course to take advantage of them as well. Not only that, but BU also holds a career night event every year with the Boston chapter of the Financial Planning Association. That's known as the FPA. And this is really a great way to meet with prospective employers and to network with other planners in the Boston area. So we already have the date set for the Career Night event this year. It's going to be on November 14th, and it's going to be held at BU. So please come and join us for this free event because we would really like to meet you there. Okay, so let's talk about what's involved in becoming a certified financial planner, because I had mentioned that there's 4 steps involved in the process, and we call these the 4 E's. They are education, examination, experience, and ethics. And let's start by going over the first one, which is education. Okay, so when it comes to the education piece, there's 2 requirements that you have to fulfill. First of all, you have to complete a program that's registered with the CFP Board. And obviously, the Boston University program for financial planning is registered with the board. The other thing that you should be aware of, too, is that to be part of this profession, you need to have a bachelor's degree as a minimum. Now, the CFP Board will allow you up to 5 years to get your degree after you pass the CFP Board's exam. And also, what's interesting is you don't have to have any particular major that they're looking for. The CFP Board will accept any major, and so it doesn't have to be necessarily in financial planning or financial planning related subjects. One more thing to mention to you is that there's something called a challenge status. And that means that if you hold any of the professional designations that we've listed here, such as CPA, CFA, attorney, CLU, CHFC, which are in the insurance profession, or a PhD in business or economics, then you can waive the board's education requirement. This would mean that you would only need to take the required capstone course or submit a financial plan in order to sit for the board certification exam. And also, just to mention to you too, if any of you have these designations and you realize, oh, okay, you don't have to go through the education piece of it. If you have any questions about it, though, please reach out to me and let me know, because I'd be very happy to speak with you, either by email or phone, to make sure that you're getting the right foundation for what you need in order to sit for the board's exam. We'd hate to have you think just because, let's say, you have one of these designations that means that you're completely prepared to sit for the exam and successfully pass it. That may or may not be the case. And so if you'd like to get more information about it, then please reach out to me. Okay, so that's the first part, is the education. The next E is the certification exam. And I want to be the first one to tell you here that this really is a rigorous exam, okay? So don't think that, oh, no problem. It's a 6-hour computer-based exam. No problem. I can just, set that up anytime and ace it. Doesn't quite work that way. It really is going to be pretty rigorous, because they are not only going to test you on an academic level, but the board will also test you on a practitioner's level. And so you need to know really how to apply all the information that you're learning to real client situations. So anyway, we will make sure that you get completely prepared and ready to take that exam. First of all, the exam is held 3 times a year. It's in March, July, and November. And as a matter of fact, it's going on this particular week. What you would need to do is go to a Prometrics testing center. and you can take it at a center nearest to you. When you take this computer-based exam, it's going to be multiple choice questions. So you've got 170 multiple choice questions, and then that will include some of the case questions that they have on there too, because they will have some larger cases and some little mini cases as well. And the whole point of that, again, is to test you on your ability to apply the information that you're learning in these courses to a real financial planning situation. The national pass rate, I have to tell you, it's gone up over the years. So I'm happy to see that it's at least finally we're hitting the 60% or higher marks now. Again, we're finding that most many students will take the exam very seriously. They'll put in the required amount of time that's needed to study for it. They'll prepare themselves well. And if they do that, they will be successful when they take the exam. Okay, so let's go on to the next E, which is work experience. I just want to go over this with you because this is something that people might just think you just have to pass the exam and then you get your CFP certification. No, that's not quite it, because you get the work experience requirement. What it is you need 2 to 3 years of full-time work experience. Now, it would only be 2 years if you are really engaged in doing comprehensive financial planning. And what I mean by that is comprehensive planning means working with all of those different subjects that we talked about, from insurance planning to investments, estate planning, whatever. That's what comprehensive planning is. That is something different if you're only doing, let's say, investment-related advice or just doing tax work. That's one particular subject that would not be considered comprehensive. So for those type of areas of your work experience, you would need to have 3 years of full-time work experience. What the board likes to see is direct interaction, working with clients, and that would be in at least one subject area. Also, what the board will do to determine whether or not you meet that work experience requirement is they're going to look 10 years prior to the time that you have successfully taken that CFP Board's exam. So they'll go back 10 years into your past to see if you can meet this 2 to 3 year work experience requirement. If you don't have enough time and don't have the full work experience, then what the board will do is they're going to give you 5 years to fulfill this requirement. Okay, so what that means is that after you successfully pass the exam, what they'll do is they'll go forward 5 years to give you, the 2 to 3 years work experience. And there are many ways to get that work experience requirement. And again, if you have questions about any of this information, you can please reach out to me, and I'll help you learn some of it too. The other resource, which is the thing I want you to know, which is most important, however, is go to the board's website. And that is www.cfp.net, or you can contact the board to get your questions answered. Okay, and the last one is ethics. What this means is that all CFP certificates must abide by the board standards of professional conduct. Right now, that includes a code of ethics, practice standards if you're working with clients, and there are steps that you're going to need to follow. And for those of you who are considering getting into this field, I would just say to you, just quickly check out what's called the Candidate Fitness Standards. And this is found on the CFP Board's website. What it does is it explains the type of conduct that would perhaps disqualify somebody from becoming a CFP. So if you're not really sure about, maybe some past conduct or disciplinary actions or things of that nature, and you want to get that checked out, you can go to the board's website, and it's pretty clearly, revealed to you through their website. Okay, and that finishes the information about the 4 E's. Now let's get to the most important part, which is talking about the BU program for financial planning. It's completely online. you will have access to all of the course content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So obviously, this is the most convenient way for you to get your CFP education. Now, when it comes to our program in financial planning, I had mentioned before we are one of the most renowned programs in the country. And one of the reasons for that is I can tell you based on our rankings. They've had a couple of rankings out within the past couple of years. We have been in the top 5 programs in the financial planning programs in the country for the past several years. But not only that, the online program just last year, 2017, was ranked number 2, and that was ranked by thebestschools.org. So I want you to know, because we've been educating students for over 35 years now, we really feel that we have a good handle on what our students need to know, and the education piece that we provide to our students helps them become successful financial planners. Now, I mentioned we've got a 7-course certificate program. That's what it is. Again, it's certificate. It's not a degree program at all here. But once you go through those 7 courses and complete them, then you can receive a certificate, BU certificate in financial planning. We've been making a lot of changes to our program to make it even better for our students. So right now we have some new streamlined curriculum. We've reorganized it. We've cut out a lot of extraneous information. We've just zeroed in on the information you absolutely need to know to be successful when you start practicing and when you take the board's exam. We also have webinars every 2 weeks, and they're live and also recorded so that you're able to get your questions answered by instructors. So we encourage you to take part in those webinars, and if you're not able to, they'll be recorded for you, and you can listen to them as often as you'd like. We also have CFP practitioner videos throughout the program too. We have practitioners, either instructors or former BU students who are subject matter experts in certain areas, and they've wanted to talk to you to give you some practitioner advice. So anyway, we probably have maybe about 12 or 13 of them in the program right now, and we're hoping to add some more. We also have faculty facilitated discussion boards. This lets you connect with other students and also the FP facilitator. And we have rolling admissions, which allows students to start and stop anytime that's convenient for you. And also there is complete instructor support. We have somebody who's available to you through emails and discussion boards at all times. And that's the person that we refer to when we say the financial planning facilitator. And let's talk about those instructors. We have an amazing group of instructors. We have 22 of them. 18 of them are CFP practitioners themselves. That's because, again, we want you to get the very best information you can from practitioners who are in the field. Most of our instructors hold many other designations, such as CPA, CFA, JD, EA, you name it, they have it. So again, we have not only CFP practitioners, but those who have gone on and are specialists in other areas as well. They're all experienced in the classroom, in online learning, and also for review, CFP Board review instruction. So I just want you to be aware of the fact that they're multi-talented, they're very experienced in all areas, so you will get the best and the brightest. Our facilitator is Fong Long, and she can answer your questions and help guide you through your courses. Now, with the facilitator, there's no charge to contact this facilitator to get your questions answered whenever you have them. You can contact her as often as you need to and get any kind of assistance that you're looking for with your studies. So with that, that's just a quick overview of some of the things that we talked about in terms of what financial planning is and how to become a professional and careers in the field. But also we want to tell you a little bit more about our program. So with that, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Carrie Scott. Carrie is from our enrollment team, and she's going to go over the scheduling and the enrollment options with you. Carrie?
Thank you, Carolyn, very much. Okay, with regards to the financial planning program, there are 3 different options for enrollment into the full program. Option 1, which you're seeing on the screen right now, is our standard online program. The standard online program consists of the 7 courses that make up the program. Tuition for the standard online program is $4,395. With this particular option, the student is responsible for purchasing the books themselves. A lot of students like the convenience of having the books shipped to them, so we do have an option for the online program plus books. What this means is we will physically ship the books to you so that you're always getting the correct copy, the most up-to-date edition. The full program with books is normally $5,895. There is a $900 savings when you do bundle the full program with the course books. Your last option for the full program would be our full program with books and exam review. The review is after the CFP course is over, but before you take the CFP board exam. That option is normally $7,095. There is a $1,200 savings when you do the full program with books and review, which will bring the tuition down to $5,895. With all 3 of these options, the standard program, the program with books, and the program with books and review, you do have the option of making a payment in full or doing a 6-month interest-free payment plan. How any of the payment plans would work would be you would choose the program option that you want and then simply divide by 6. You would make your first payment on the day that you enroll, and then the subsequent 5 payments would be every 30 days, and it will be put on the credit card that you use to enroll with. You do also have the option of enrolling in a single course at a time. Some students like to do this option simply due to it's a little bit easier financially, or perhaps work is paying for the course and reimbursing you. So with the single courses, we have the courses listed there. All the single courses are $695, except for the last one. The capstone course is $995. With all of these options, this would just be the single course. If you were to enroll in a single course, you do have the option of including the book. As we had mentioned, a book is required. At these options here, you would be responsible for purchasing the book. If you'd like to purchase the book through us, it would be a $100 additional charge for the textbook. So the $695 would become $795, and the capstone course would become $1095. And again, we would physically ship the book to your home or to your office. We do have a team here that is here to answer any questions that you have prior to enrollment. I've listed our email address if you would prefer to email us. Our phone number is the local 617-502-8822, and you can speak to somebody over the phone, as well as if you would just simply like to peruse our website for a little bit more information, you're certainly welcome to do so. As well as you'll see on our website, we have live chat. So we're here whether you want to email, call, or live chat with us to answer any questions that you have prior to enrollment. And I believe we've also listed the CFP Board's website there in case you would like to go there for any CFP Board exam related questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Carolyn, for this very informative session. Lots of great information presented here. We will now move on at this time to our questions and answers session. We'll try to address as many questions from our attendees as time allows. We do have a few questions trickling in here. So I will start off here with the first one. Can you talk about nonprofit organization opportunities, please?
Since I'm the one who brought it up, I'll take that one. Yes, absolutely. What happens is when you learn to go through, well, when you're going through our curriculum to become a certified financial planner, you're going to be learning a lot about uh, charitable giving, and you're going to learn about that through the tax aspects of charitable giving and also the estate planning aspects of charitable giving and giving legacies to others. So anyway, just want to let you know, nonprofit organizations also recognize those people with the CFP certification as being somebody desirable that they want to hire because we have that kind of training. We may not have necessarily worked with clients just on charitable gifting issues, but if you are a financial planning practitioner in a comprehensive sort of financial planning situation, you will bring up charitable giving. And so having that knowledge of maybe the special tax ramifications and estate planning ramifications are really important things that all people, working for nonprofit organizations would like to hire, candidates with those qualifications. So anyway, just wanted to mention to you, there are great opportunities in the charitable gifting field.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carolyn. Our next question is the 2 to 3 years full-time absolute, or can one work part-time within the 5-year grace period, accumulate the equivalent of 2 to 3 years experience?
That's a very good question. I think what the CFP board is looking for is an equivalent of the 2 to 3 years. So if you're working part-time, let's say if you're working half-time, that it will take you certainly, more time to meet that requirement. So what you need to do, if you have some experience and you're not really sure whether or not you've already met the CFP board's requirement, you could go to their website and check out their experience page, because what they've got there is they have a schematic that they've put up where you can enter in some of your information, and it's going to tell you at this point in time where you are in the meeting that work experience requirement. And so if you've been working part-time and say you put in that you've been working part-time for 1 year, they'll be able to tell you how much time that you have remaining in order to meet the work experience requirement. So what I urge everybody to do is start off by looking at the board's website to find out what information they have about work experience, and then plug in your own personal information onto that calculation or schematic thing that they have there. Because what you can do is whatever you put in now, you can save it. And if the board says like you still need 4 more months in order to become to fulfill that requirement, then as you're getting more work experience, you can put that information in, enter it in, and save it. And then the board will turn around and say, okay, now you only need 2 more months. In other words, use that constantly to be able to, put your information in as you're acquiring new work experience.
Great. Thank you, Carolyn. Our next question comes in at what types of organizations will hire you after completing the program? Without previous financial planning experience, what types of organizations will hire so you can earn the designation?
I'm wondering if what someone's asking is what type of firms would hire someone versus organizations. I'm not really sure what they mean by organizations, but as we had mentioned before, there are so many different types of financial service related firms that will hire those with the CFP certification. And the reason that they're willing to hire students who don't have any prior background in financial services is because they know that they have successfully completed a very difficult, program of study. And if they have successfully passed the CFP Board's exam, that is recognized as somebody who is motivated and has the ability to do well in financial services. And so any of the different types of firms that we mentioned before, from brokerage firms, from insurance companies, banks, you name it, they know of the CFP certification. They know how difficult it is to get it, and it's widely regarded and highly respected. And so if you're presenting yourself with those credentials as somebody who has not worked in the field before, but you have passed the board's exam, you will be a desirable candidate.
Thank you. So our next question, this person has taken the beginning course, Personal Financial Planning Survey, from another program, but can this course be counted towards Boston University's beginning course?
Yes,
I can take
as
that
long
one.
as it. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Carrie.
Oh, sure. I was going to say, so what you would do is you wouldn't actually transfer any sort of credits to us. What you would do is you would simply take the remaining courses that you need with Boston University. And then when you are ready to sit for the CFP board exam, you would supply them with the transcript from the previous school for the one course you took with them, and then the transcript from us for the remaining courses that you took with BU.
Thank you, Carrie. I think this question can also go to you about how long does it take to complete the full program?
Sure. The full program, each student receives 21 months of access. It is self-paced, so you can go as quickly as you like within the 21 months. In general, based on about 8 to 10 hours of study per week, you can complete each of the 7 individual courses in about 2 to 3 months per course.
Thank you. And how long do the 7 class modules take to complete online individually?
So when you take an individual course, the time changes up just slightly. So when you take an individual course, you are given 4 months of access to the individual course. Again, it is still self-paced. So based on about 8 to 10 hours of study per week, you would finish an individual course in about 2 to 3 months.
And also, I just want to mention what we have in the courses, too, for every single course, is we have study guide information. And please check that out, because if you want to, let's say, accelerate your studies and finish within 1 year, then we have a plan of action for you, not only to go through the program, but also to go through each individual course. So again, take a look at that. I mean, we have developed that for those who want to complete the course in 9 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 21 months. So, if you're looking for guidelines for how much studying you should be doing for each course, take a look at your study guide and follow that as a guide.
Wonderful, thank you. Our next question is sort of a 2-part question, so I'll read the first portion here. Is there future access to the material after completion?
Do I take it, Carrie?
Yep, absolutely. So, so students receive 21 months of access. After the 21 months are up, your access to the material, you would no longer have access to it.
Great. And the second part says, what about CE programs for continuing education requirement? Is there,
Okay,
I guess
I'll
they're
take that
asking
one.
future.
Yeah. Because, well, first of all, if you're already a CFP and you want to be taking these courses for whatever reason, you could get CE credit with CFP Board for that. You would just submit this information in. But Boston University is not a CE provider. The only thing that we do have is we get some, for the state of Massachusetts, students who are enrolled in Massachusetts and need credits for their insurance license, they can get that. And that's something you would have to contact the program manager to get more information about. But other than that, we're not a CE provider with CFP Board. So if you have questions about that, just shoot those questions over to us and we can answer them for you.
Thank you. Carolyn, this one can go to you as well. Are there exams after each section or quizzes?
Yes. What we have right now is the way, when you go through the program, we call them modules, so that, let's say the first course that you take might have anywhere from 14 up through 16 modules. Say you have 14 modules. Well, with every module that you finish, which the modules are really connected to the CFP Board principal topics that they want you to know, then at the end of it, we have some practice questions for you. And they're tough, and we want to make them difficult because the answers are going to be right there for you so that it's a learning experience. Not only that, but when you get halfway through finishing your course, you're going to have a midterm quiz that you take. This quiz will also give you all of the answers, and it's a 40 question quiz. And the reason we're providing you with all the answers is we're not so interested in what's your grade. We're more interested that you learn these concepts. So anyway, you'll have a quiz available to you, and they're going to have some mini cases in them. At the end of your midterm quiz, you'll finish the rest of your modules with practice questions, and then you'll have a final quiz that you'll take. Again, this is not going to be graded, but it's to test your knowledge, and it's again to give you some little mini cases in there and some other information. We also have a practice case for you that we want you to test out your knowledge on that. It is not going to be graded, so you'll just go ahead and take that practice case so that you get more information and experience in trying to do some casework. Then once you've done all that, now you're ready to sit for that course's final exam. And when you take the final exam, you're going to have 4 opportunities to take it. So if you're not happy with your score and want to improve your score, you can always take it again. And your highest score is the one that's going to be recorded. So, and that final exam is a 2-hour timed exam, and it's going to have multiple choice type questions and also some casework. Again, we're trying to get you so practiced and prepared to be able to do casework for the board's exam, and when you get out in the real world to work with clients. So we certainly emphasize casework within our program, and we think that's all to your benefit.
Great, thank you, Carolyn. Carrie, I believe this one can go to you here. Are there any bundled course options for less than the 7 courses? Example is if the CFP board has granted a waiver for 1 or more of the courses.
That's a good question. At the current time, the options would be for the full program, all 7 courses, or for the individual courses. We don't have an option right now for more than 1, but less than the 7. But I certainly will put that in our suggestion box.
Thank you. Let's see here, a couple more questions coming in. This one here, just to confirm, to complete each online module, is it 2 to 3 months studying at approximately 8 to 10 hours per week? Just to reiterate that.
Those are average amounts of time that we'd like you to spend, but you might find certain modules are going to be very easy for you to kind of go through. Other ones you might need to spend more time. So again, they're just suggested averages, to help keep you on track.
Great, thank you, Carolyn. And Carrie, this one can be for you. If one enrolls in the first course as an individual course, can one switch to the full package thereafter? And what are the expenses that would be associated with that?
So at the current time, there is not an option to start with a single course and then move to the full program. So if that were the case, I would ask the individual student to contact us, but at the current time, there isn't an upgrade option.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, and our next question, does BU offer any options for those without a bachelor's degree? I can earn a bachelor's at BU together with the CFP course, or I'm sorry, can I earn a bachelor's at BU with the CFP course?
So the CFP
Absolutely.
program at BU, go ahead. You go ahead, Carolyn.
No, I was just going to say, it's the CFP Board's requirement that you have a bachelor's degree. And so again, they give you 5 years to get that after you actually take your CFP exam and you pass the exam. So if you would like to be in this field and start working on getting some of your undergraduate courses out of the way while you're taking this, absolutely, you can do that.
Great, thank you. Right, so our next question, I think we might have answered a couple of these questions along the way, but we will just certainly reiterate this for you. What is the typical format of this course? Is it largely textbook reading alongside video instruction, or are there quizzes, assignments, etc. along the way? And then they're asking, is there an exam at the end of each course, which we did just discuss that as well. Do we want to just reiterate that?
Sure, be happy just to mention to you, every course is broken into certain modules, and so those modules are very specific to the CFP Board's topic list, so that we're going to concentrate fully on one particular topic that you need to know, and then when you finish that module, you'll go on to the next module, and the next, until you end up finishing that course. So we've talked about the fact what the quizzes are. They're all non-gradable. The practice questions are non-gradable. The case is non-gradable. It's only when you get to the final exam that will be, you'll have those 4 opportunities to take that exam and get your highest score.
Great, thank you. It looks like our last question here, we can have this go to you, Carolyn. What makes the Boston University Financial Planning course stand out from the rest of financial planning courses?
Oh, thanks for that question. I can tell you what I think the whole reason why we are so successful in this country, and that is because we have phenomenal instructors. And I challenge any other program in the country to match us in terms of the experience that we have with our instructors and the passion that our instructors have for teaching students. You know, we have very little turnover out of those 22 instructors, and it's because they really care about bringing more people into this field and growing this field and training the people properly to become leaders of financial planning in the future. And I have to say to you that, yes, we've been around for 35 years and we have top-notch curriculum and all the rest of it, but it wouldn't be nearly as good if we didn't have the most amazing instructors available. And so, you know, I just want to mention that to you. The instructors that we have will not only be presenting webinars so that you get their expertise live and get to participate in these webinars alongside of them, but they also write the courses, they write the questions, they're very much involved in their field. They know what it is that you need to know, and they know how to get you there. So again, I just can't praise them enough.
Perfect answer, Carolyn. Thank you. And as you were answering that, we actually did have 2 extra questions come in here that I think are really great questions we should address here. The first one being, Carolyn, can you explain how the new tax code will impact the program and CFP board exam? And then how often is this course updated?
Yeah, that's every single year we have to do a tax update to our entire program. And so every single January, we start with all the brand new tax figures for that current year. Now, the CFP Board does not test on any new tax figures until after the March exam. So generally what that means is in our program, we don't put the new tax information in until after the March exam. And that's to give those students who, you know, need to be able to have this material available to them to study from, so that they're studying with the right figures that they're going to be tested on when they take the board's exam. This year, because of the major tax overhaul, the CFP Board has decided that they're not going to be testing on the 2018 tax figures until the November exam, which is really unusual for us. But that's not stopping us from changing everything. So right now, we're in the process of trying to change all of the courses and change them over from 2017 figures to the 2018 tax figures. So as of April, starting in April, you're going to get announcements about different courses that have changed. I can tell you that investment planning doesn't change because the tax figures do not affect that course at all. And some courses are very heavily affected by it, like the income tax planning course and also estate planning this year. And then some are just moderately affected, like retirement planning. So what we will do is we will make sure that the tax course, the retirement planning, and the estate planning course will all be updated with those figures to make sure that you have that, you know, for your studies when you're ready to take that November exam.
Thank you, Carolyn. Wonderful answer. And then the last question here being, after passing the exam, how does one stay current and laws, rules, and guidelines changing?
Another really good question here. First of all, you will, number one, need to keep up continuing education. And so the CFP Board requires that we have 30 hours of CE every 2 years. So, we have to make sure that we're staying current and up to date in our field. There are so many ways that we can do that. We can take courses, we can read journals, we can go to conferences. There's so many different things that are available for you to get your CE credits, but it's more than just getting CE credits, because I can tell you 30 hours of CE every 2 years is so easy to get. What happens is all of us go way over that because as practitioners, we want to make sure that we are current and up to date with all the information in our field as we can be. And especially if we specialize in certain areas, then we'll spend more time on that specialization. But yes, if you have a passion for lifelong learning and working with clients, you will want to keep yourself informed. And so there's from journals of financial planning to professional organizations that you can join that have all sorts of meetings and conferences. There's so many different ways that you can keep yourself current. So that's not an issue at all.
All right. And that concludes our question and answer session for today. I'd like to just thank everybody for taking the time out of your schedules to join us for this very informative and interactive webinar. We had some great questions asked by all, so we appreciate your participation. Again, just for reference, we will be sending out a recording of this webinar within a few days for your reference, just so you can call back on any of the questions we answered here today. And with that, I'd like to wish everyone a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you again for tuning in.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.